Welcome to Open Your Reality, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chad, and we have a special guest on the show today, a very controversial figure. His name is David Weiss. Welcome back to the show, David.
Hey, Chad, thanks for having me back. I enjoyed our last talk and can't wait to hear what we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. You know, it's been a year and a half since our last interview. It was July of 2021. And I figured I got to have David back on the show because so many people were intrigued with the flat earth talk. And I know it's a very divisive subject. There's a lot of derision in the comment section amongst people. And so I don't want my viewers to be fighting. I want everybody to respect each other's opinion, but I know that probably won't happen, right? Because for some reason, it just causes a lot of tension. Why do you think the flat earth argument causes so much fighting amongst people? It just cannot agree. Have you seen that in your, yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so amazing what division it costs. And you think about it, you know, we live in this crazy reality with crazy controllers doing all sorts of crazy things. We know that they're programming us using the television programming and all sorts of social engineering. The education system is basically the indoctrination system. And the fact that, you know, if you're any sort of a truth seeker, the fact that when you just mention flat earth to somebody, the vitriol that you get, the gut reaction, that should make you go, why are people reacting so violently and hateful? And it's because of programming. Nobody becomes a flat earther. He goes, hey, you know, I'm going to become a flat earther. I'm going to alienate my friends and family and ostracize myself from society. Okay. Nobody does that. We all have the same story. And the story was, you're an idiot for thinking the earth is flat. I'm not going to watch a 1-minute video on the topic because it's too stupid, because I know, right? I know that the earth is a ball. But then if somehow somebody convinces you to actually stop and take a look and try to prove the globe, that's how you become a flat earther, right? I mean, people there's different types of, there's 3 different types of people that defend the globe. You have the paid or possessed shills out there that are actively, we call them the anti-flat earthers. Okay. And they're out there just lying through the teeth. They come up, you know, well, the reason you don't see the mountain, the reason you can see the mountain is because it's refracting up and magically stopping at eye level. And they have all these excuses. Whenever you talk to a flat earther, their only excuse is because the earth is flat, right? Everything just goes back to because the earth is flat. We don't have to make up crazy things, right? So you have those people, you have people that think they know what the globe is, but have no idea what it is. And then you have people that have a pre-programmed belief on what flat earth is, right? You know, a lot of people think flat earth is a disc floating in space, right? That's absolute insanity. If you Google flat earth, you know, you end up with that disc, you know, floating in space like this, right? This is not flat earth. If it was, I would laugh at flat earth. We're not a flat pancake in a heliocentric world. This is 2 false models mixed together. And that's what people will defend. But then when you start looking and like, hey, you know, what is going on, right? You ask somebody, Chad, and you're way more educated. You probably know the answer to all of these questions, but it's possible you don't, because when I was asked these, I didn't. How fast is the earth spinning at the equator? You know?
1,000 miles per hour.
Right. But 99.9% of the people don't know that, right? How fast is it orbiting the sun?
66,600 miles per hour.
See, you've been digging into this, right? But nobody knows that. And how fast are we chasing the sun? About 500,000 miles an hour, give or take. Depends on who you talk to and what day of the week it is. Okay. But you know, somehow you go out and take a picture of the stars at night, and then the next year, 10 years, whatever, same night, same time, every star is in the same position. That alone should tell you the heliocentric lie is nonsense. So just back to your question, and I'll throw it back to you. Why do people react so violently? Because your entire life is built around this lie. Your whole worldview is built around this lie. All of your entertainment is built around the globe lie. We love Star Wars. We love Star Trek. I grew up on Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, every movie. I love space movies. Well, I used to. I still love them now because I kind of decode them. But all of that, you have to give all of that up. And a lot of people just have too many emotions set around this thing. You know, everybody has, you know, everyone has a globe. Globes are amazing. They're so cool, right? But they're absolute Absolute insanity. They're so dumb. So only when somebody takes a breath and says, okay, let me prove the earth is a globe. Let me prove flat earth is stupid. And the best they can do is say, I don't understand how this works on a flat earth. Therefore, the earth is a globe. Well, that's like me saying, I don't understand how a catalytic converter works. So your car doesn't have one. Okay. You know, if you opened up if you gave me $100 and it's opened up the hood of a car and said, find the catalytic converter, I'm going to not get the $100 because I don't know where it is. I don't know what it does, but I know my car won't run without it. So that's just an example. All right, go ahead. Back to you. Sorry for the long tirade.
No, that's cool. I think you're right about that. I just want to say for the people that are new to this channel, I'm not on the flat earth side. I'm not on the round earth side. I'm exploring my options, if that's okay. Okay.
Listen, I have no problem. It's just the people that say the earth is a globe and flat earth is stupid. There's millions of proofs for the globe and zero for flat earth. The opposite is true. There's lots of things that work both on flat earth and globe earth. So that doesn't prove either. There's lots of things that only work on a flat earth. That kind of proves flat earth. And there's zero things that work on a globe. That should tell you something. So until you take the time and look, and Google hasn't made it easy, they've hidden everything. Until you know the resources and go verify it yourself. I always tell people, do not believe anything I say. I'm just pointing to some doors that you didn't see because you've been brainwashed into not seeing them. Go examine yourself, right? That's what I did. I went and examined myself. And when I tried to disprove the globe, here I am talking to you, Flat Earth Dave.
Well, whether you believe Flat Earth Dave or not, I have to tell you, my mother finds you to be one of the best guests on the show. She thinks you have a very entertaining way of talking. So she's going to be watching.
I try to keep life funny because laughing saves lives. Laughing cures cancer. Laughing is what life is all about. So my girlfriend / wife calls me Second Answer Dave because when anybody asks me a question, the first answer is usually a joke to entertain myself or anyone that's willing to laugh. So I try to keep it funny because life is funny. It's hysterical when you look at what's going on out there. We live in clown world in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. It's an amazing time to be alive.
It is. Chinese say, may you live in interesting times. We certainly do. I think these times are more interesting than any other times in all of history. Incidentally, my mother could care less whether the earth is flat or not. She doesn't care about anything I talk about on my channel, really. She just likes to see me, and she's not into that, she's not into any of this stuff. She thinks it's like just my shtick,
I hope your mom sticks around because you know what? An intelligent person, when they're like defending the globe, well, what about sunsets? I show you how sunsets work. What about seasons? Show you that seasons prove flat earth. What about day and night? Show you how it perfectly works in a flat earth. What about the 24-hour sun? When I show you how that proves the earth is flat, then all of a sudden people, that are thinking, they throw their hands up and go, well, why the lie? Why does it matter? What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. Well, that's when you realize that maybe you don't have to go to work on Monday and that the why the lie is the most important part of this. This is the biggest lie. This is how they have enslaved humanity because our thoughts create our reality, right? Our thoughts create our world. And so they can limit your thoughts and put them in the heliocentric matrix, the globe. Then your ability to manifest your life, your true potential is severely limited, not like cut off. They don't want us living to our potential because then they won't be the leaders, the controllers of this world. Once you understand that, and why the lie is the most important thing, right? On my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, hit the frequently asked questions button, hit the why the lie, watch those videos, and then you'll know. They're well put together. All the work has been done for you. Look at it and then go, oh, that's why the lie. I worked my way up in corporate America. I worked my way to the top of this company. Company got sold, shut down, what they were doing. Started my own company. So now I'm the CEO of my own company, doing really well, right? I have the American dream, right? Which is literally a scam. And I walked away from it all, right? To do this because this matters so much that people need to wake up. If we don't wake up, get off their fake ball, get off their fake monetary system, then we're going to be slaves forever. But if we do those two things, we can get our freedom back.
If you don't mind me asking, what business did you walk away from that you created?
So I was in the commercial solar power development business, and I started commercial solar power and financing development company, and we, identified, designed, financed, and constructed large solar projects. And it was going really well. The company's actually doing really well, but this was interfering with it, and my partner and I decided to split up, and I left the company, and here I am because this isn't about money. This is about freeing humanity. And I've never been more busy in my life now doing stuff like this. I am so busy day and night. I barely sleep. My developer is in India, so I'm always talking to him, and it's 13 hours difference. And I've never been happier. I mean, this is truly an amazing awakening that's going on. And the amount of letters I get, emails, messages saying, Dave, I thought you were an idiot. I thought this was stupid. Kept watching some of your videos. Oh my God, this has changed my life, and everything changes. So I have to go to work on Monday. Is today Monday? I don't even know. I think it is Monday. Okay.
It is Monday.
I'm in my studio, in my home, and life is awesome.
I was going to say to you before, there are people that say, well, what difference does it make what the shape of the earth? It could be round, it could be flat, it could be a triangle, it could be toroidal. I still have to go to work on Monday. I still have to pay my bills. It doesn't change anything here in this reality. I'm still driving my car and walking. So whatever. It's just the reality doesn't change no matter what the shape of the earth is. So why?
Wrong.
What do you say to people who make that comment?
Yeah, well, that's because here's the American dream: go to college, get in debt, right? Then go to work 9 to 5 through all of your prime years of your life. Go to sports on the weekends, drink, watch a movie, get more programs, and rinse and repeat until you're retire, where you maybe have 5 to 10 years left of poor health and dwindling funds, and and then you die. Okay, that's basically the American dream. You have to, as George Carlin said, you have to be sleeping to achieve it, right? Because you have, it's absolutely ridiculous. The dream is to live your life to its fullest and see this amazing creation that we're in. Before, when I would go outside, I would just do my thing. Now I go outside, I appreciate everything I see, because nothing is as they told you. All of our history is a lie, everything. And one thing that flat earthers, flat earth researchers and have in common is we're never, ever, ever bored. There's just so much to learn, and it's mind blowing every day. People's brains, they deteriorate over time because they're just stuck in their world of television and movies and drinking and work, and they're not actually exercising their brain and learning new things. I learn more every week than I learned in all of my my indoctrination, in the schools I went to. Okay, it's absolutely amazing that, and I always say, usually by 10 a.m. I have my mind blown every day with something new. 10 a.m. I mean, usually it's like 6 a.m. Okay. I'm like, wow, every single day. Could you imagine that? Right. I was talking to, no, it's actually Greg Reese from InfoWars was being interviewed by Eddie Bravo. And Greg was talking about when he woke up to flat earth. He said, I was kind of depressed because I'd realized I'd never have my mind blown this hard again. Right. Because this is the absolute biggest conspiracy. But the thing is, the things that go along with flat earth, like our true history, giants and our advanced civilizations here, and more land and more people and all sorts of stuff, it's equally as mind blowing. But it all ties back to the flat earth lie. Right. So here's how they control you. So getting back to your answer. So they can't control you because we are born into this divine world by the creator, and the creator gives us divine laws, the law of God. Below that is common law, the law of the land. These are to us by birthright, right? But then you have statute law, admiral maritime law, which is the law of the courts, right? Man's law. And the controllers of this world aren't allowed to take your divine law away or common law away, but they can get you to agree to operate in their man-made nonsensical system. So they can convince you that you're not in a divine world. Big bang, bam, and micro, lightning strikes and creates an amoeba that turns into a worm, that turns into a frog, into a human. Okay. If they can get you to believe a ridiculous, nonsensical story like that, they can get you down here to give up these rights that you have. the government, the controllers, the mind controllers of the world don't give you rights. They just pretend to have that authority. And if you believe the lie, okay, then they have power over you. The only power they have over you is in your imagination. So if they can convince you that you're not divine and they're not in the divine created world, then they've pretty much limited your ability to thrive. How's that?
Okay. I could see you're definitely hyped up this morning. It's great. Had your coffee, but
tea. I had a tea.
Okay. We haven't talked for a year and a half, and you said that you learn so much every day. I want to know what's new with you. What's new with Flat Earth? Is there any discoveries or anything new about Flat Earth that you discovered in the last year and a half that you would want to point out to me or my audience?
Yeah. So there's so many things. And, when I first got into Flat Earth, they're like, oh, an airplane, you could see the curve. And then we sent balloons up that went, 5 times as high as an airplane and showed that there was no curve. And so they moved the goalposts. And then, the anti-flat earthers, the trolls, the gatekeepers, they come up with another excuse. And but then we, the collective mind of all of the researchers out there go out and disprove that. They're like, oh, look, the bottoms of these buildings are cut off, right? Then the bottom of this mountain is cut off. You can't see the mountain. And then we go out and say, oh, you know what? We now have infrared, right? We go out and we can say, look, this is Mount San Jacinto, 123 miles away. You should only be able to see the very tippy top of it, but infrared cuts through the haze, because without this, all you see is sky here. You can't see the mountain, but we can see it, right? There should be over 7,000 feet of curvature. So stuff like that, they keep going away. So now the only argument the Globers have is the stars in the southern sky are rotating in the opposite direction. And, all of this nonsense, but they refuse to look at the fact that stars as described are scientifically impossible, and you wouldn't be able to see them. We can get into that if you want. I've been breaking that down. And there are many explanations why we see the stars the way we do, but the fact that that's their only argument, I mean, they've got nothing left. Nothing left at all. It's amazing. Go ahead.
No, I said I could already see the people commenting in the comment section, because there are people that absolutely are flat earthers and they support you, they love you, and they back you 100%. And then you have the globe earthers. And there are people that are probably watching this right now, new subscribers to my channel, that are saying, why are you talking about flat earth? But on this channel, what I'm doing is I'm looking at all possibilities. I'm an open-minded skeptic. I'm not closing myself off to anything. I had David back in the past, and there are a number of my viewers who are flat earthers. So if you're watching this and you're a round earther, I don't want you to feel like some people will just unsubscribe immediately and they'll get very upset. You don't have to watch this video. But if you haven't explored the flat earth argument, I urge you to listen to what Dave is saying, because it may just show you something. And the only reason, guys, that I'm looking even into this, because I looked into it a long time ago with a guy named D Murphy 25, Dave Murphy. I think you know him, right?
Dave, good guy, great guy.
Allegedly Dave, very good guy. And allegedly Dave, I saw him on this talk show in Europe, and he was making all of these points. And so I thought that flat earth there was nothing to it. And I was like, this is going to be debunked in a second. But there were a lot of good points. And so that's what steered me towards it. And of course, I love Eddie Bravo, and Eddie Bravo is a very, he's like you, he's a very staunch flat earther. But we're going to go through some of these points. And I have questions from the viewers from our last show. So I want to get to those too. But go ahead, Dave, you were going to say something.
So for the people that are thinking of tuning out, if you haven't tuned out already, and I was you, I probably would have tuned out already. So I'm not going to hear what I'm going to tell you right now is, if you're so confident that the earth is a globe, it should be pretty easy to come up with a proof. So I have a challenge out there, right? This is my app, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. You can find it at flatearthdave.com. It's a $3 app, one-time charge, right? There is a subscription if you want to be able to communicate with other flat earthers. But if you don't want to do that, don't pay the subscription, right? Every day there's a daily video right here. And here's my challenge. Watch the daily video each day for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, right? And at the end of that, if you can come up with one proof we live on a globe that's not answered in the frequently asked questions section, okay, send it to me and you win either 3 Bitcoins or an equivalent amount in physical silver, okay? An equivalent amount, it's like 3,000 ounces of silver, okay? For one globe proof. I am 100% staking all my reputation, everything that I will pay that if you can come up with a globe proof. I have zero fear that I will lose that because once you try, you're going to end up just like me going, holy crap, this is real. Okay. Now, do flat earthers have all the answers? Absolutely not. We do not. But and we have different, some people say, well, we live in this dome and that's it. Some people think it's an extended plane like myself and there's more land beyond, right? Some people think that different, that there's a dome, no dome. That's fine. We're all figuring that out. But one thing we all know is that we don't live on a spinning ball, CGI ball. Okay. Maybe the land looks like this. This is an old map, right? Maybe these are all other continents outside beyond Antarctica. Here, you know what? I actually have one that
Dave, for those people that are not familiar with the flat Earth, the very center of the circle in that picture, that would be the North Pole, right?
Right. So the very center is the North Pole. So let me bring it up for those people that aren't. They want us to believe that Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of the ball, but you Google pictures of Antarctica from space, I don't believe in space, but high altitude, and they're all cartoons. They're all absolute cartoons. So what is the flat Earth? This is the flat Earth. We live in the Antarctic basin. The shoreline of our pond is the land that's higher than the pond that holds it in. Go look at a pond, look at a lake. What's holding it together? The land around it is higher than the surface of the water. Don't believe me? Lower part of that land and the water will flow away. So they tell us Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Okay. Nobody is allowed to go beyond this purple line, which is 60 degrees south. And there's 8 different military bases all stationed around on islands out here that will stop you if you try to cross that without, hundreds of thousands of dollars in permits, if not millions. And no one gets granted, right? If you want to go to Antarctica, you get taken to this little peninsula here, which is bigger than some countries. And they show you some ice. They don't let you explore out here. We want the right to explore out here. What's out there? I think there's more land, but I'm not claiming there's more land. I'm thinking that there's more civilizations, more worlds. Okay. But I'm not claiming that. That's what I wanted the right to go investigate, right? They won't let us do that. So let me show you something, which you'll find this very interesting. This is new since we spoke. Where was it?
Yeah, I just want to also say that I think a lot of people who are not familiar with flat Earth basically won't even look at it because they don't understand,
right?
What the model is like. But when you look at the model, it does make sense, especially when you look at flight paths, which we'll get into.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got a new one. The World Cup proves the Earth is flat. Just released a video this morning. Okay, so here's the North Pole. Our sun circles around here. This is they'll call it the shoreline of our world. Maybe it's a little farther out. Okay, maybe this continent, right? This is not an island. This is 2 to 3 times bigger than the United States and Canada combined, and Mexico. Okay, this is massive, right? So what if half of that was sticking out and you went from here on your sightseeing tour and they took you right here? They tell you that's Antarctica. How would you know? How would you know if there's ice that goes all the way around? How would you know what's out here? So check this out. So this is a cargo ship tracking website. You can just go look it up yourself. Okay. And you can click on any one of these dots. It'll tell you where it's coming from, manifest, size of the ship, name of the captain, just everything. Basically, so I think it even tells you the cargo that might be on it. Okay. But then we noticed that there's some ships hundreds of miles within the ice or land of Antarctica moving. There's ships way inside here where they tell us that it's ice. So what's going on there? So how do we know that there's not ships taking trade routes out here? So we clicked on that ship that was in there and we got some information and we said that ship is from, it had very little information other than the size of the ship, 560 meters. That's like 1,800 feet, 80 meters wide. This is a massive, massive cargo ship. Massive, right? Where'd it come from? A little sandbar called Kiribati in the middle of in the South Pacific. Okay. There's sand people that live here. Okay. Right. What is going on here that this ship is coming from this island called Kiribati, right? That ship, if it brought cargo there, could probably supply them for multiple decades with everything they possibly need. Okay. Why is a ship that big? Why is the Chinese government highly involved here? Why is the U.S. government involved here? Why did the Chinese government give them $10 billion recently? Okay, the sandbar. This is a friggin' sandbar. Go.
You're saying, are you saying that big ship left from that little island?
It's registered there. There's a pier there that can house it, and that's where it's registered. You know what? Did it actually leave from that island? I think it did, but we didn't track it from the beginning. So if there was extra trade routes going on, if, left Kiribati and was going out here, and who knows what they're trafficking, goods, people, babies, who knows? Okay. We don't know. Technology. If this was going on, Chad, how would you know? You never heard of Kiribati.
Mm.
And there's a whole bunch of islands out here that you've never heard of that have landing strips, huge houses on them, amazing stuff. You would never know. They have us imprisoned in here. They've shut our minds off to go, there's nothing out here but ice and death. I don't believe that to be true.
I think many of my viewers are aware of the flat Earth map, but just in case they're not, Antarctic is a continent on the globe Earth model, but there is no real Antarctic in the flat Earth. It's just an ice wall that goes all the way around the continents.
Hold on, let me interrupt there. I always said that there's an ice wall that goes all the way around. That ice wall might be farther out, right? This is, the North Pole's right here, and this is the shoreline of our world. There may be openings. There may be many openings, right? This is, maybe the world is set up like this, right? So we have an opening right here, right? Maybe there's many openings. Maybe that's why the elite are so afraid of global warming, right? Because then it opens up a whole bunch of areas and they're afraid that people are going to be able to sneak out. There's a story, if you go to the book section in the app, there's a story called The Iron Republic. It was written in the late 1800s, and it's a story about people that had left here in the 1600s because they didn't like the tyranny that was going on, and they went to the outer lands and brought all their technology there. And a politician from New York who was fed up with what was going on, bought a ship, went to Antarctica, found an opening, ended up there, lived there for years, got married, right? A whole thing. And then his wife died and he came back, right? So he said that this was published in 1901, I think. And he was talking about more land, an advanced civilization out there with electric floating cars and all sorts of stuff, flat screens, amazing stuff. In 1901, he's writing about this. So the question is it real or is it a made up story? Either way, to me, doesn't matter. It rings true to me. But in the 1800s, they were talking about more land past Antarctica. Okay. Right.
That book is called The Iron Republic.
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon. You could actually go on YouTube, search The Iron Republic, and the channel's called The Morgue Island. He read the whole thing for you. Plug it in. I know people don't have a lot of time to read. They're commuting and stuff. Plug it in, listen to that 5-hour book. And it is an amazing story.
Yeah, one of my viewers, when I mentioned that I was going to interview you, they said, ask Dave to talk about The Iron Republic. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Right. And, there's another book in here, which I recently read, a much shorter book. It's called The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Wall. And this is an amazing, amazing book. And to me, how we say there's truth in the movies, lies in the news, right? Well, think of the movie Star Wars. So Star Wars, what is it about? The Galactic Federation, people going from world to world. There's hostile worlds, there's friendly worlds, there's, no-go zones in space. What if the world was set up like this? Okay. So we live right here. This is our pond. Okay. And we live here, and here's the Antarctic ice ring. And then there could be another sun out here, another sun out here. And this is our realm. But then over here are other ponds, and they all have their own suns, and they're all other worlds. Okay. So we have all of these other worlds out here that are here across the earth plane. If we live here, this world, I don't know, what is that? 100,000, 200, 500,000 miles away, a million miles away. I don't think it's that far, but that's nothing. That's nothing. Okay. And this is scientifically possible versus outer space, which is actually absolutely scientifically impossible. So when you look at it, in the story, they talk about how there's safe lands, there's hostile lands, there's treaties, there's all sorts of stuff. And then there is a federation of worlds that try to control the area and make sure, commerce is done correctly or whatever. And one thing they talk about here is they talk about the power of the human being, that we have a thing called we connect with source. And if we use the source, that's how we navigate this world. And what does that sound like? Sounds like the force, right? And so these are pieces of our plane that these ponds, these worlds, occupy a separate piece of the plane. What do you call a piece of a plane, Chad?
A piece of a plane.
A planet. A planet is a piece of the
Okay, I didn't know that.
A planet. It's a piece of the plane, right? A planet. Well, I don't know. Is that just a coincidence? Pretty cool. Pretty fun to think about. Okay. Here's the thing. We don't know more than this. We don't know what's out here. We don't know what's out here. Okay. But it's sure fun to speculate. It's sure our God-given right that we should be able to go out and explore. But they don't want us doing that. They don't want us knowing any of that.
It reminds me a little bit of Lord of the Rings, like how there's inner Earth, middle Earth, and outer Earth.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. People say, well, what about there's people living on Antarctica, people working there? What about the bases? Well, let's say this is our world, and this is the Amundsen Scott base. And if you look at it this way, let me see. It's this is what they want you to believe, is that it's right here, on this continent, close to the center. Okay. That's not the way the world is, right? What if the world was like this? Okay. Here we are. And then here is an opening to another pond and an opening to another pond over here. Right. What if it was like that? No, we don't know. And then certain times, global warming, the suns get close together and they melt out an area. And now you have a trade route that you can go to this other world right here on flat Earth.
Yeah, I mean, what Dave is saying is speculation, but
absolutely speculation.
If the flat Earth is a valid model, then it's good speculation. But I wanted to ask you, who's that explorer that circumnavigated the globe? Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Sir Ralph Fanu, whatever. Circumnavigation is actually proves that the Earth is flat, right? So let me, for the viewers, people say, well, I've gone, east from New York and went all through Europe and China and California, and I was back to New York and I went east the whole time, right? This is how circumnavigation works. We have our magnetic north, and here's our boat, plane, whatever. I got a compass. The needle's pointing towards the north. I'm trying to push that compass, boat, plane west, and I have to keep turning to the right to maintain a heading of 270 degrees. So I think I'm going in a straight line because I'm following my compass, but I'm going in a circle. Now I'm going east. I have to constantly turn to the left to maintain east. Now, this is a massive circle, thousands and thousands of miles. If you're going 500 miles in a circle, you would think you're going straight. Now, watch this. If I try to dead reckon west, so I'm going to say, all right, west is that way, and I'm not going to turn. I'm not going to look at the compass. I'm heading south. As soon as you don't turn, you're heading south, which is away from the center. Okay. The billions of people have circumnavigated east and west. Okay. 0 people have navigated south. Okay. Except Sir Ralph Fanu or whatever, some royal guy who has been arrested or prosecuted or charged with faking expeditions, faking accidents on expeditions. He's the only guy that's gone across the South Pole. Absolute nonsense.
I was thinking of Magellan.
Magellan. You're going way back. So
way back. Yeah.
yeah. And again, anything past, 1900 could just be a story. I don't believe in any of these guys anymore. I don't think, like the story of Aristophanes, I don't know. I think he might have been a real person, but I think it's just a made up story. And Galileo, he got a tube and polished some glass and put some lenses in there, and he could see more details on Mars with his handmade polished glass telescope than we can see with our largest telescopes today. That's the story. Like the detail that he saw on Mars is more than the giant telescopes that the Vatican owns, can see. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Magellan more so would prove the flat Earth rather than disprove it, because he was going around the ice wall, and so he was going for years and years and years. He was trying he was just circumnavigating around the ice wall, according to what information I read about, but I could be wrong.
Right. Well, you're also talking about Captain Cook, right? Captain
Cook, yes.
Yeah, that's who you might be talking about. He took him 3.5 years, went over 65,000 miles. Okay. Right. 65,000 miles. And he, and it took him 3.5 years. Well, the equator is only 25,000 miles around, 24,901. And Antarctica is only, 10 to 13,000 miles around. He should have done it much faster than that. But a lot of people bring up the Antarctic sailboat race, what supposedly circumnavigating Antarctica, right? On their website this year, because we exposed them last year saying, hey, they did it, these boats, these big, the most beautiful high-tech boats ever. At the latitudes that they said they did it at, and on a globe map, that would equal them going maybe 3 miles an hour on average. All right. Those boats go faster than that when they're tied to the dock, being facetious. They'll go more like 20, 30 miles an hour. So this year, they even admitted it to us, from Cape Town to Brazil. So they went around Antarctica. This is way down. This leg of the race alone was 32,000 miles. The equator is only 25,000 miles around. This leg alone was 32,000 miles. And then they had to go back over here, which added another 15, 20,000 miles. This leg alone proves they're lying. It's all a lie. How are they lying? Because the guys on the boats, they don't know where they are other than what GPS tells them. NASA runs GPS. They don't know any of that. They're navigated into these outer waters that have, there's a heavy current, a very strong current out here. So they get into that. They have prevailing winds, a strong ocean current, and they're out there. They're navigating according to GPS. They're making their things. They're not figuring it out. However, we have one of the guys that actually did the race, and he's like, Earth is flat. They're lying, right? There are people coming out. People say, where are the whistleblowers? If you become a whistleblower, like NASA, people are, where are the NASA whistleblowers? They get their lives threatened for talking about this.
I wanted to stop you there because that's germane to my next question. And that comes from a viewer.
Yeah.
Who says, it's very interesting listening to you, Dave. But my question is, why would thousands of scientists lie to us about this? There would surely be a couple of whistleblowers from the scientific community. What is your response to that, Dave?
My response to that is there's plenty of whistleblowers. You're not going to get fed them. If you go in the app, click the frequently asked questions button and click where is it? There's one that says pilots and scientists. Are all pilots and scientists in on it? Click on it. We got whistleblowers in here. We got all sorts of information. We have airline pilots. We have astronauts that admit it. But when they do, their lives get a little hairy. So people lose their jobs, they'll get their lives threatened, get their family lives threatened. But watch these videos and then make up your own mind. There's plenty of whistleblowers. And the other thing is, as I talked about before, There's people that will defend the globe, and scientists. So, hey, if you are trained that, hey, that little twinkling light you see in the sky is 25 trillion miles away and all this stuff, and you look at it through a telescope, you're looking at it based on that belief. And then you're scientifically theorizing a whole bunch of other nonsense based around nonsense. For example, they tell us that the sun is 93 million miles away. And the way they figured it out was when Venus, which happens to be close to the same size as Earth, transited the sun, they had people look at it from California and New York, and it started and stopped at different times for them. And they did some perfectly good calculus and figured out the distance to the sun, right? But the truth is, how the hell did they know Venus is the same size as Earth? Okay, I think Venus might be the size of a beach ball, good size beach ball. Okay, so just again, there's scientists that are lost in their pseudoscience. So most of them are, and then the bigger ones, if they ever speak out, they lose all their funding.
Yeah, just to be fair, there are pilots who also see UFO, but just because pilots see UFO, unidentified flying craft, doesn't necessarily mean that we live in a globe Earth reality, because you're saying that aliens or UFO ships could be coming from another pond.
So think about this. Let's break this down. It's going to take a couple minutes, but it's worth the time. We're going to do a little bit of math. Super easy. Everyone don't freak out. It's really easy, but you've been programmed to hate math, okay? Because basically math is accounting and geometry and calculus and algebra, okay? This is super easy. Science tells us that the closest star is 4.5 light years away. Break that out into miles. It's 25 trillion miles away. Okay, Chad, 25 trillion miles. How far is that? Chad, did I ask you last time how long is 1 trillion seconds? You have any idea?
Many, many years.
Want to take a guess?
I'll guess 1,000 years.
31,000 years.
Okay.
So think about that. The reason I'm saying 1 trillion seconds is because I'm just showing you how big 1 trillion is. So 31,000 years. So if you were traveling towards the closest star, you and I get on a rocket ship, we're going to travel a mile per second. No one's ever gone that fast. Actually, the Earth is going, I think, 18 miles per second through space. So I guess we have gone that fast. That's ridiculous. Set that side note. So we're on a rocket ship going 1,000 mile per second for 1 trillion seconds. We've gone 1 trillion miles. It took us 31,000 years to get 1/25th of the way to the closest star. We got to do that 24 more times at that speed. All right, you know what? That's ridiculous. Mile per second. Let's go crazy speed. 100,000 miles per second. Okay? 100,000 miles per hour, not per second. 100,000 miles per hour. It's going to take us 28,000 years to get there. Okay? Now, you believe that your eye can see light at that distance, right? The inverse square law of light. Oh, here he goes with the math again. It's easy. When you're looking at a light, every time you double the distance to that light, it becomes 1/4 of the brightness and 1/4 of the size. Okay? So if the sun was twice as far away from us, it would have to be 4 times bigger and 4 times brighter for us to see it the same way that we see it. Okay? These numbers are exponential and absolute, show the insanity of this. So think about this. Our sun, they tell us our sun is right here. You know, here's our sun, this big, and the Earth is literally a speck of dust or a small BB next to it, right? Right? So if I move the sun, it was noon, you're in the tropics somewhere, and the sun is directly over your head, but I moved it a mile over your head. So you're on this little speck right there, and the sun is a mile over your head, which I can't even make the space small enough to make it scale. You'd look up and the sun would fill the entire sky. You wouldn't be able to see anything else, right? Pretty easy. So then we move the sun 93 million miles away, and because of distance, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where it's about the size of a coin held at arm's length, just like we see the sun now. So if I doubled the distance of the sun, it would be 1/4 of that size and 1/4 of the brightness that we see it. If I doubled that distance, so now it's 4 times away, it'd be 1/16 of the size and 1/16 of the brightness. If I doubled that again, so it's 8 times farther away, it would be a 64th of the size. That's getting really small. And a 64th of the brightness. Well, this law of perspective and brightness applies to all the stars. So Polaris, they tell us, is 48 times bigger than the sun. Follow me, this is easy. And 48 times bigger than our sun. Okay, so all right, cool. So if I took Polaris and made it 48 times farther than the sun, it would look the same. So I had Polaris 93 million miles times 48. Boom, it would look just like our sun. Okay, awesome. Ignoring the brightness issue. Okay, well, I just remember we just took our sun and made it 8 times farther. It's a 64th of the brightness, a 64th of the size. I doubt you could even see it. And that's a light hour, right? The sun's 8 light minutes away, 8 times farther, 8 times 8, 64, 1 light hour away, right? Let's just be safe. Double it, 2 light hours away. If it was 2 light hours away, you couldn't see it. It's so small and so dim, you couldn't see it. So if I made Polaris 48 times farther times 2, so 100 times farther, okay? 100 light, it would be 100 light hours away. At 100 light hours, what's that, 4 days or something like that? 100 light hours away, you couldn't see it, and it would be too dim. 100 light hours. Okay, that's a couple days, right? You know how far they tell us Polaris is?
Go ahead. 4.5 years, light years away?
No, 433 light years away.
Really? So
that you at a light year, at a light month, at a light week, you couldn't see it. Right? And so people just like, oh, I just believe it because light just travels forever. Light doesn't travel forever. It spreads out, right? If you hold a light next to your, in a room, it's going to light up stuff next to it. But then you go across the room, it's barely lighting that. That room, if it's a mile wide, you're not even going to be able to see the light at a point because it spreads out. The inverse square law, it spreads out. Good. Sorry.
I was going to say that's a great point. I've known about light years since I was 7, 8 years old because I had an astronomy book and explained that light travels at 186,000 miles per second, approximately about 300,000 kilometers per second. That's per second. So basically light can go around the circumference of the Earth about 8 times in 1 second. So if you're saying it takes 433 light years
to get to Polaris.
To get to Polaris, and you're saying that if the Polaris is 48 times larger than the sun, if it was 48 times further from the sun, it would look about the same distance as the sun looks to us now, right?
Size. Yeah, it would look the same size.
Okay,
but
that's only 4 days.
Yeah, but it would have that's only 4 days, right? But it would have to be the brightness 48 times farther. So if we double, that's one. It's a double the distance is. I can't even do the math in my head. It's so crazy, right? It's 48 times farther. The brightness would have to be. It's so insane. The number is unimaginable. Can you?
It would have to be like a million times brighter than it is.
It's actually bigger. More. It's actually more than that. Can
Wow.
you imagine the sun twice as bright? I say you can't because no one's ever seen anything that bright, right?
So for those people who didn't follow the whole thing, basically what Dave is saying is that Polaris is the closest star.
No, different star. I jumped from one star, the closest star. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away, 4.5 light years. Polaris is 433 light years away, but they both kind of look the same.
Yeah, Polaris is 433 light years away. And what Dave is saying is that based on what astronomy, science, NASA is telling us, is that the reason that we see that star is because it's 48 times brighter than the sun. But if you really do the math on it and you look at it logically, we would never even see it. It's impossible to see the light. It is so far away that even if it was like a fraction of the distance here, we still wouldn't see it. And that's what you're saying, Dave.
It's so ridiculous when you start looking at it. If 433 light years, if it was a light week away, it's way too small to see. Okay.
Yeah.
So one, and people, here's the thing, people's minds short circuit. They're like, well, that's too much for me to deal with. A guy in a bow tie with a white lab coat on told me, therefore I have to believe it because the lie's too big. We can't have all the scientists, everyone's in on it. No, everyone's not in on it. Everyone's indoctrinated. Who becomes the scientists? Who becomes the teachers? The ones that memorize and regurgitate the nonsense themselves. Now they have this bias on what they're looking at, okay? They have their bias at what they're looking at. They think everything is a sphere, right? So basically everything is based on that. For example, here is hold on a second.
But I was going to say that's a good one you brought up there, Dave, because I haven't heard other flat earthers talk about that.
So let me ask you a question. Is this the sun or a moon? How big is it? How far is it? And is it spherical?
Yeah, to me, it looks like the sun, but it could also be the moon. So you can't really tell.
Because I programmed you. I gave you a false binary on what it is. Let me just move it forward and you'll see that it's actually a train and the light isn't even spherical because as it gets closer, our eye can start to resolve the size and it's not a sphere at all. Okay? So when you're looking into the sky at these luminaries, you don't know what the hell they are. Okay? Right? So I hope that didn't upset you that I tricked you, but this is
no.
This is how people see the stars. But when you look at stars in the sky and you actually zoom in with today's consumer optics, which have outgrown their lies, this is what you see. NASA doesn't show you that, right? NASA doesn't show you that, right? This is the star Sirius. Does that look like what they tell us it is? Right?
But my question would be, how come when people look at telescopes and they see, let's say, Jupiter or Saturn, they can see some detail? You can see Jupiter looks more like a planet than like this.
Yeah. So when you look at Jupiter, you see, there are those lines. There is that spot. They tell us it's a storm that's, bigger than the Earth or 100 times bigger, right? If I showed you this, what planet would you say this is?
Jupiter.
Right. But if you zoom in on it, you can see that it's just a meadow of ducks and grass. Okay. In a circle. So if you're programmed into say, oh, I see that sphere up there. Let's pretend Jupiter is a sphere. Okay. Does that mean that the Earth is a sphere? When it's just, we don't know what it is. Look at the lights in your ceiling and then describe the shape of your floor. Okay. Right. When NASA shows us Jupiter, they're half the time they're showing us this model that they made. Okay. Literally, they made a model and they use it in their movies. They use it in their images. And this is what you're seeing. Okay. Right. When you look at pictures from NASA, we don't get pictures like this. This is a painting, right? Based on, hey, there are some lines on Jupiter, 2014, 2016. In 2016, they said, oh, we saw the northern lights, which means Jupiter has a magnetic core, just like the Earth. Okay. This is the same exact thing. Look at all of the clouds that are moving. They're all exactly the same. This one's just a little darker. Check this out. Let me ask you a question. We can talk about gravity if you want, but what defies gravity, right? Helium, hydrogen, balloon goes up. It's kind of defying gravity. We can talk about that in a minute if you want. Okay. They tell us Jupiter is like 99% or it's mostly made out of hydrogen and helium. They also tell us that Jupiter has more gravity than all of the other planets in our solar system combined. Can you tell me at what point hydrogen and helium start creating gravity rather than defying it? Okay. What's lighter? What's heavier than gravity? Feathers. No, heavier than hydrogen or helium? Well, feathers. Feathers will fall down. So if we had a Jupiter-sized world made of feathers, it would have more gravity than Jupiter has now made out of hydrogen and helium. This is all absolute and complete and total nonsense. You're told things, and then you look at them with confirmation bias, and then you're like, oh, I just proved. You know what? I have another theory, and then people buy that. Our science, science has been hijacked. None of the cosmology is science. It's all pseudoscience. It's all made up, complete and total nonsense.
And real quickly, why would they want to trick us? Why wouldn't they want to? Why wouldn't they want us to know the truth?
Because as I said before, let's get into it. The why the lie is because they're hiding our true potential. They're hiding our ability to not be ruled by them. They're hiding our ability to thrive. They're hiding free resources. They're hiding free energy. They're hiding more land. They're hiding our divinity. They're hiding that we're at the center of creation. They're hiding the fact that money isn't real. We're hiding the fact that we don't have to obey their rules. They're hiding everything from us. They're hiding our ability to manifest the world that we want. They're hiding our I don't like calling it an immune system anymore. We have a cleansing system in our body that thrives. They're hiding medical technology. They're hiding everything to keep us slaves. So when people say, well, why the lie? It's all about control. This is literally nothing else but control, because, when you wake up to the flat earth, you immediately unplug from the system. On my app, right? If you hit the little handshake button, this is the friend finder. Let me just show you, okay? Right? These are the people since we talked that have woken up to flat earth. This is just near me, okay? This is just near me. Let's look at the rest of the world, okay? So if we go out, and every single one of these blue dots are awake and aware and have unplugged from the heliocentric matrix. It takes a second to load because there's a ton. Come on. There we go. So here's the UK. Look, all of these people awake, aware, no longer feeding the system, right? That's the UK. Let's look at the United States. Where are you located?
South Florida, near West Palm Beach.
Look, Florida. Florida's kicking. Look at all the people down here. Okay. You got tons of awake, aware people. People are using this app as a dating app, as a friend finder, as a meetup gatherer, as a job app, as a way to find like-minded people in this crazy world, and a way to get together, because they don't want us together. They want us separated. They want us scared. They control our mind with the news, right? North, east, west, south news, steering our mind with the headlines, giving us worry headlines in our forehead. Okay. They don't want us knowing that everything is okay. There's plenty of water. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of land. There's plenty of resources. There is no man-made climate. I don't want to say the other word because the algorithm will get us. There is none of that stuff, right? They don't want us to know that we're thriving in this world, and they want us separated, because if one person focuses his energy on something, yeah, he's got some manifesting abilities. But if a whole bunch of people, or even just two people together, it's 10 times, 100 times more powerful, right? The Maharaji effect, I think it's called, where a whole bunch of people meditate together and it changes the world. They don't want us to know the truth of our world. Here, I'm going to shout out an Instagram channel, and just everyone follow it. He doesn't even really touch on flat earth. It's called I Am the Impossible Dreamer. All one word. I Am the Impossible Dreamer. All short stuff. Just go through 10, 20, 50, 100 of his videos and talk about having your mind blown. It's like everything. It's all mostly about our history, about giants, about buildings, about all sorts of other stuff, but mind-blowing stuff. Mind-blowing. I Am the Impossible Dreamer. Buy that guy a coffee, please.
I Am the Impossible Dreamer. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to write that down. Do you have a slide there showing how when a boat goes over the horizon that you could pull it back using a telescope or a camera?
I do. Where is it? We can see.
Because this is one that a lot of globe earthers say, and actually I broke up a friendship over this, saying that with a very smart person, actually. And I said, did you know that I told them that if you take a telescope, that when you see a boat going over the horizon, you can actually pull it back into view. And my friend got upset and said,
not always, but most of the time you can. Where I have it in two different spots. Hold on. All right. So.
And I have a question after you show it. I have a question about it from a viewer.
Right. I got this one. So here's a boat coming in. Whoops, not the one I wanted. That is the one I wanted. All right. So, and when we zoom out, the mountain, the boats, it all just disappears. And the average person would think, well, they're just too far away. You can't see them. This is just how things merge into the horizon. So all of a sudden, here are the boats. Okay. Let me show you another one.
Well, but they say it goes over the horizon. It goes over
Well,
the curvature of the earth, the
So,
horizon, right?
so they,
It's not
so
just,
they, yeah. So they say it. So here we have, whoops, where is it? There we go. So here we got, there's nothing out here. So as we're zooming in, we're increasing the angular size. And as we do, oh, look, there's a boat, right? So I'll zoom in and then we'll pretend that this boat is going away. And as that boat goes away, it gets smaller and smaller and you can't resolve it. Now, these little waves in the foreground are going to hide the boat. Okay. And it just goes and goes and goes. And the people think it went over the horizon because they were trained that way in a video they watched in school with a 3-mast sailboat. But it's really still there. But our consumer optics have outgrown their lies. Zoom in and it comes back. Now, this doesn't always happen because on a wavy day, those little waves, like, can my finger hide my face, whether I'm a boat, a city skyline? The answer is no. But what if my finger was much closer to you?
right.
Right? Because as something goes into the distance, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, right? And I could hide my whole hand behind my finger, right? But as it comes forward, it rises up and it gets bigger, right? Bam. All about perspective. So in the app, on the frequently asked questions page, go to where does the sun go? Go to boats over the horizon. So if I hit the frequently asked questions, then I say ships over the horizon, right? Ships over the horizon. Here's a whole bunch of videos that YouTube doesn't want you to see. This first one, this is amazing. This is a girl broke down this ship, making headway, going away, and she shows you what happens the whole way away, how it literally merges and disappears into the thickness of the atmosphere and the compression into the horizon. She breaks it down for you and shows you, but a glober will just look at the final, like, I can't see it. I can't see it. Oh, Earth is a globe. That's ridiculous. Can you see me right now? Can you see my house right now from where you are? I'm in Connecticut.
No.
Oh, well, that means the Earth is a globe, right? That's literally the glober logic. Okay. You can't see my house, therefore the Earth is curved. Look, I got a referral.
But okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
From a viewer. Okay. Question is, if you can pull a boat back into view, why can't you pull the sun back into view when it sets over the horizon?
Yes. Good question. It's my favorite question. And now we're going to have to answer it. So let me pull that up. So let me explain how perspective works. We have terrestrial perspective of a terrestrial object. That would be a person standing on the ground, seeing a city, a boat, terrestrial to terrestrial. Then we have terrestrial to celestial, which is a person on the ground looking up at something in the sky above the atmosphere. Okay. And then we have celestial to celestial object, would mean like from a balloon to the sun or whatever. Okay. You with me?
Yeah.
So when we look at something going into the distance, the sky and the ground merge together, right? Bam.
Mhm.
And everything is still here. So you zoom in, you increase the angular size, and you can see it again, just like I showed you with the boats. Okay, now this is called an orthographic view. We're looking at it from the side. Nobody sees like this. Nobody sees like this. Whenever you're looking and everything merges together. You never see the side of your face, except in a picture, of course, right? But every perspective, the way we see, nobody sees like this, but I'm using this for demonstration, okay? So got an observer, got a boat, we got a city, okay? So when I go over to the person's point of view, everything merges down. The clouds, even if there's no clouds, the thickness of the atmosphere compiles. Like if you're in a swimming pool that's 100 yards long with perfectly clear water, you cannot see the other side of the pool because it just becomes too opaque, okay? So the atmospheric deck, the clouds merge into the horizon. So now if there's a boat over here, at one point I'm not going to be able to see it, but I can zoom in, I can increase the angular size, right? So what is going on here? There we go. So I can increase the angular size. So I'm zooming in. I'm showing you. Now, these are some waves I put in here. Love my graphics. Thank you. And here's the boat getting smaller and smaller, and it's getting blocked by these waves. And then the clouds are merging a little farther, and it all merges together. Okay. So now I can zoom in and bring this boat back, but the sun is going away. Now, let me go back a second here. If I look up, I can see the sun. I can see the sun through the spaces in the clouds. But the more I look this way, the more the atmosphere gets thicker and thicker and more compressed. The sun is above that layer. It's above that layer. So when I zoom in, when I go forward, the sun literally goes, I can't see. This is solid. Cloud. I'm not seeing through anymore. The sun is above it and it just goes away. I'm going to show you a real world example of this. Okay. So I can't see through these clouds, which are way over my head, but they look like they're at eye level in the distance. And the sun just goes beyond it. So let me show you an experiment.
But what if there are no clouds?
The air becomes opaque. I'm going to show you that too in a minute. That's and thank you for asking that question. It's absolutely important. Okay, so here's the example. I have a celestial camera at the height of this line, which is the path of the sun across the flat Earth. Celestial to celestial view, no problem. I can see the sun. Now, this is either mountains, skyline, or it could just be the opaque atmosphere. And the sun is above it and goes away. Now, I have a terrestrial camera on the other end of the counter there, looking at the same thing. So let's watch it from the other end from a terrestrial point of view. Now, look at this path of the sun. It looks like it's going down. And this, which is that camera, looks like it's at camera level. The sun is going behind it. But in reality, the sun is not going below it. Now, if I zoomed in after that sun went away, would I be able to zoom in? No, because I'm under another layer. Okay. I can't zoom through something opaque like the atmosphere. Okay. So here it is. Look at this line. This is a level line. Does that look level? It is level. Here's the sun going behind the atmospheric deck of opacity. It's just going beyond our ability to see. The light can't go through it. It's going beyond. This is a real sunset. It looks just like my sunset, but if I was at a celestial point of view, I can see it. Okay. So let me show you what happened. Go ahead.
I just want to say, so for those people who may be confused and don't know about flat Earth, so the sun is not actually setting, it's not going over the curvature of the Earth. It's just moving further and further and further away from your view. So it looks like it's going down from the law of perspective. And then it gets to a point where it goes below the atmosphere, the clouds. And so you can't, the light will not move through it. So it just looks like it's going over the horizon, but it's not.
It's not. And in the distance, the atmosphere just becomes opaque. People don't understand that, but I'm going to show you that in a second. Imagine this. You got an airplane flying over your head, but let's turn that airplane into a sphere. So now it's a sphere, but then just imagine how an airplane flies. And across the street is a tall building, 20 stories tall. Okay. So it's felt pretty high. And that airplane's coming from behind you and it flies over that building. What are you going to see? Right? You got the high building and the airplane goes by it and it just disappears behind the building. Now you can zoom in on that building and you'll never bring that airplane back because it's solid. Okay. So now let's move that building 5 miles away. Guess what? The top of that building is now at your eye level. It looks like it's at your eye level. And that airplane, that ball, as it goes by it, is going to do the same thing. It's going to disappear behind it. Okay. You know what? Before I show you the celestial to celestial, let me show you this because this will help you. So, right, when we see the sun go away, it looks like this, right? And we compare that to a bunch of street lights. It's kind of the same thing, going away, going down, merging with the horizon. So here is we have these street lights. So let me just show you this. Right. So here's a viewer looking up at a cloud, right? You can look up and you can see between the clouds, right? So the cloud deck goes into the distance and as it's going farther, now these clouds aren't lower. They're just merging with the horizon. So at 20, 30 miles away, they literally merge with the horizon. So imagine I had a string and I drew it from this person's eyes to that cloud, and the person can see the string. They would see a string going out level across the water, right? Because the cloud in the distance is level, right? So I see the string level from my point of view. I have a level string across the water going all the way hitting that cloud. What if you were standing underneath that cloud and you could see the string? Would you see a level string going back to me? No, you wouldn't, because if you're underneath that cloud, you're going to see the cloud up high and me at your eye level, because even though I am at your eye level, I stay at your eye level. So you're going to see a string sloping down from 5,000 or 10,000 feet to my eye, right? But I see it as level. This is how our eyes work. So what happens if we extend this line? So this is a side view, which no one ever gets to see, right? This is at the horizon from my view. And so as the sun goes away, again, this is an orthographic elevated view. No one ever gets to see it. As the sun goes away, I can't see below this cloud because that cloud has blocked everything. So I see the sun. This is what's going on as far as my view, but I see it down. So let me jump forward. I see the sun go like this because it all looks like it's at the horizon, but it's really up in the sky. Again, watch these videos a couple times on my app, on the frequently asked questions page. Where does the sun go? Okay. And then watch the videos there. This full video is there with explanation. I highly recommend it. So now let's look at a celestial view. So I just pause this for a second. Super clear day. It was literally freezing outside, no humidity in the air, like the bluest, clearest day ever. I'm in Connecticut, so I'm looking west at sunset. Now, I saw the sun was up high and it started going down, down, down. Now, in 5 minutes' time, it just kept going down, and it should just keep on going if the earth was spinning. But that's not what happened. The sun went down, 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 and then it stopped, and it sat here for 10 minutes. Now, my friends are down at the beach walking around in the cold, and they saw the sun set from the bottom up 10 minutes earlier. But I'm just watching the sun sit here. And this is sped up like 2,500%. Okay. And I'm just watching it sit here. Now, what is going on here? This is a perfectly clear day. The sun just melts into the thickness of the atmosphere. The brightness of the sun can no longer push through and make it to my eyes. It took its light with it as it went away. On the app, on the More Resources page, which is the web button, there's a whole button with a whole bunch of examples of this exact thing.
Why did it sit there for 10 minutes?
Because as it goes away, it just, as it moves across what I call our personal atmospheric dome, it'll move about 15 degrees per hour, but when it gets close to the horizon, it stops. And then it just goes away. And that's how it works. I have a video that might be able to show you if I can pull it up. There it is. Pad. So let me see what this one is. Whoops. What happened to me? Here I am. So this is actually a video I just released yesterday. And basically, this dome is your dome of vision. And this little sun that we see come up here is the actual sun that we see. This is the real sun. And it's how it moves away. So it never goes below. Here, let me show you a better example of why the sun never goes below. Where is it? Here it is. So
is it also the same thing for the moon?
Yes, same thing with the moon, but the moon's not bright enough where you rarely ever get to see that. So here I have a glass dome on my floor here on a white blanket, and I'm moving a light just straight across. So I'm still moving it away, and it gets right down to the edge, and it just fades out. So now I'm going to bring it back. It's going to come back from this side. It's going to come right across the room. All of a sudden, it appears on the horizon. It rises through the day. I'm just moving that light across. Right? And then it goes down and it gets to the point where normally you would see it disappear from the bottom up because of, the stuff in the distance, but from on a certain conditions, clear day, no humidity, you can just see it go away. All right. You can see it where it just stops. It wouldn't go below. And again, that leads to a flat earth.
If the sun is a fixed measurement, why is it that sometimes when we see it on the horizon, which is the furthest point away from view,
It looks
that it
bigger.
looks bigger than when it's just overhead?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's one thing. Again, the optics of the sky are truly amazing. The next time you see a giant moonrise, right? Huge moon, right? Turn around, face your back to the moon, bend over and look at the moon upside down through your legs, and it will be tiny. It's just the way our brain works, and that short circuits your brain. Go out when it's there, hold your thumb out or your finger and say, okay, my thumbnail hides the moon perfectly at arm's length. Then go out a couple hours later when it's up in the sky, the moon will be much smaller. Hold your arm out, same length. It's the same size. It's all how our brain interprets it. Okay.
So you're saying it's an illusion. It's a moon's not actually bigger. It's an illusion.
Well, but hold on. I'm saying it's most of it's an illusion, but there are parts of it that are not. So let me show you. Where am I? I'm in sunsets. Okay, so this is one that was taken by a soldier. Whoops, not that. Rid of that. This was taken by a soldier in Afghanistan. Super dry, super clear, not much in the distance, and the sun is just going away. It was moving all through the sky, and as it got towards the horizon, it kind of just sat there, and now it's just going away, getting smaller, taking its light with it. And there it goes. It's a goner, right? The fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world spinning around because he's been programmed by the Rockefellers in the indoctrination system they call schooling, right? They're turning us all into fish, into a school of fish, and we just follow whatever they say, right? This sun is clearly just going away. I think this is in Bolivia, right? Amazing. And that's not Bolivia. I've got another one from Bulgaria, but the sun is just going away. There's certain parts of the world, certain times of the year, certain atmospheric conditions that will allow you to see, okay? The sun went away, and it's just going away. It's perspective, okay? If you stand under a street light, that's your summer sun, your 12 noon summer sun. The one down the road is sunset. Or you can count it as seasons because it's the same thing. It's just going away, right? Here's one over Bulgaria, right? Is that sun going down? Are you here? Question, A or B? Is the cameraman falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound, making this stationary light appear to go down due to perspective, due to the spinning of a ball? Or is this light, whatever it is, just moving farther away from you? Right? Logic.
Do you have a graphic? Do you have a graphic showing how night and day work on the flat Earth?
Do I have a graphic on night and day on the flat Earth?
Yeah, like showing the plane, showing like how the sun goes around, and because some people will say, the question they'll say is, well, if the sun is just a point of light and the Earth is flat, how come it gets dark in some places?
Yeah, because as light goes away, as I showed you with that sun fade out video, the light just can't reach you. It's the atmosphere is opaque. It's above the atmosphere. You can't see it. Imagine you have three parallel pieces of cardboard, a top, a middle one, and a bottom one. And you're looking between the middle one and the bottom one, right? And they're parallel. Well, depending on how wide they are, at a certain distance away, they're going to just merge together. They're going to merge like that, okay? And then on the top piece of cardboard, you have lights, okay? Well, you can't zoom in. When this merges together, it's going beyond there. You can't zoom into that, right? So this animation here shows this is time and date showing you on a flat Earth map how it works, okay? And this is just we're moving a light from the Tropic of Capricorn to the Tropic of Cancer, in and out on this dome. And it's kind of making the same patterns that time and day is telling us that we have. Okay. It makes no sense whatsoever. Okay. If the earth was a ball and we had a single source light, never would that light light up more than half of the ball at any time, no matter how you tilt it or spin it. Always half of the ball would be lit. But there's certain times of the year where a way bigger percentage of the world is lit. That's impossible. It would always be exactly 50% lit, no matter how you tilt it or whatever. Okay. It would always be. But there's times of the year where, the light from the sun, the reason it wrapped around, like I was showing you before, is because as it gets closer to the dome, that light wraps around the dome. The dome is daylight. The sky is daylight. The sun is sunlight. I can prove it because you could sit on the west side of your house, and in the morning, before the sun rises, before you see it, 10 minutes, 20 minutes before sunrise, you can read a newspaper, not that you ever should, on the west side of your house. Where's that light coming from? The sun is turning the daylight on. It's electrifying the sky. The nitrogen in the sky fluoresces blue. And it's lighting up the sky, giving us our light. Okay? And there's so many things. Like, how come where am I? I'm like half off the screen here. There we go. I'm back. We see these sundogs, right? Here, got a lighter inside of this dome. Kind of mimics exactly what we're seeing. Kind of makes me believe there's a dome.
I wanted to ask you, I asked you this last time, but how big is the sun? Do we know, or is it still just anybody's guess?
There's a lot of flat earthers have made the claim because the math works to make it 3,000 miles away, and I forget the 30 miles wide or whatever. But you can also make it 1,500 miles away and 15 miles wide, and you can also make it 5 miles away and 5,000 miles away. It's size and scaling. You can make it any distance you want. You just scale it right. Personally, I think the sun that we see isn't the real sun. Okay. So what do you mean the sun that we see isn't a real sun? Let me show you that, and then I'll tell you what I think about how far it is. All right. So this is what I call my sky sheet. So I got a sheet dividing my room in half, and I'll call that the opaque sky. On the other side of the sheet, I got a flashlight like 10 feet away. This flashlight actually has a square lens, but it looks round. It kind of looks just like the sun, right? And so I got Paige to the left of me. And I say, Paige, where do you see the sun? And she goes, I see it right there. This is from her point of view. So she sees it right there, right? She sees it over here, and I see it over there. We're looking at the same thing in two different positions being projected into our sky. Okay. So I think, and like I live on Long Island Sound, and 65 miles down the sound is Montauk, which is the opening of the sound. When I watch the sun rise, when I watch the sun appear on the horizon, if I'm out on a perfectly calm morning fishing or something, the sun appears on the horizon. To me, it looks closer than Montauk. Okay. That's 65 miles. So that would mean when it sets, it's going to be 65 miles the other way. That's 130 miles in the course of a day. So maybe the sun that I see is only moving 130 miles from rise to set, because we're not looking at the real sun. We're looking at the optical sun. Okay. I think that the lights in the sky are being projected from possibly below, possibly within the firmament. I don't know, because we don't have access there. But it sure is a lot of fun to speculate, model, and try to figure it out. But the one thing we know for sure is you can't see Polaris at a light week away, let alone 233,000 light years away, 433 light years away. Okay. Absolute pseudoscience nonsense. The Globers have nothing except complicated excuses, and we have everything. But the only thing we need is because the earth is flat. That's why everything works, because the earth is flat.
So that would hold true for many of the stars in the sky, right?
All of them. Here's another thing. Check this out. So where's the best place to see the stars? In the city or at the top of a mountain in Pennsylvania?
Top of the mountain, Pennsylvania.
Right. Why is that? Because we're away from lights and we're up high above a lot of the pollution. And it's amazing. You ever gone up on a mountain at night, on a clear night, and seen the stars? Amazing, right?
Bear Mountain. It's
Yeah, Bear
amazing.
Mountain. Yeah, amazing. So if we launched a balloon, we did launch a balloon in Arizona at night, at midnight, perfectly clear night. We had 4K cameras looking up. We could see the stars before we even let the balloon go. Okay, amazing. What's going to happen as it goes higher and higher? What's going to happen to the view of the stars?
And get clearer, make it look bigger.
Yeah, in a heliocentric world, yes. But what happened is by the time it hit like 60 or 80,000 feet, all the stars were gone.
Why is that?
Great question. Let's try to figure it out together. But we don't live in a heliocentric world, that's for sure.
Well, Dave, I have to say, you're making a really good case today with everything.
Here's the thing. If you think I'm crazy, please come take my Bitcoins. Put me out of this. I'll gladly go and start another company and do my own thing. Okay. If flat earth isn't true, right? If what I'm saying is not nonsense, which it's not. Okay. But people, you just want to, I can't change your mind. Well, guess what? My mind was changed. I grew up just like you. I thought the earth was a globe. I thought that we were random acts of nonsense and mutations. I thought that, there was no God. I thought that I was powerless. I thought that I had to obey the government. I thought a lot of crazy, stupid stuff. Okay. But now I see it completely different. Okay. So take the Flat Earth app challenge. Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. There's already, don't buy the one, but there's here's the other thing. The Globers, the anti-flat earthers, the paid or possessed ones, they have to lie about everything. They just lie constantly. We catch them all the time. They created an app with the same name that leads you to their content. Okay. And when you go on Google Play, sometimes it shows up first. It's a horrible app. I encourage you, go get it and then leave them the proper review. Okay. So this is available in Google Play and Apple, but just go to flatearthdave.com, click the banner at the top. It'll take you, click. You got it. It's $3 one-time charge. If you want to subscribe, and I hope that you do, $11 a year. Basically, you bought me a margarita and you forgot to tip the bartender. Okay. All right. That's it. $11 a year. And here's another thing. You just saw somebody just join. If you recommend the app to somebody and they join, if they download the app, the $3 version, they use your referral code, you get a point. And if you get 11 points, guess what? You can trade them in for a year subscription. So if you're worried, like a lot of people say, well, I'm on my mom's account, I don't want to do, I'm like, just get 11 referrals and then you can cash them in and pay for the subscription. The subscription is really great because you can communicate with other people. Like a lot of people like, now I'm a flat earther. Half my friends think I'm crazy. My parents want to institutionalize me. What do? You know what you do? You find the other dots around you and you have intelligent conversations and literally your spirit lifts. Everything changes in your life. Everything changes. What difference does it make? All the difference in the world. I mean, you couldn't pay me to go back into the matrix. It is insanity. All right. So flatearthdave.com. And if you don't want to get the app, fine. Go to flatearthdave.com. Scroll down to the crash course, click it, and there's a series of videos. I challenge you. You won't get through 5 of them before you reject the globe. Military whistleblowers, all sorts of stuff, everything. It's all there. We've done the work for you. We've put it together. Don't just believe a video. Use your God-given common sense. Go out there and verify this stuff yourself. But we put it all together for you, right? There's lies on YouTube. There's lies everywhere. There's also truth everywhere. You have to use your God-given discernment and look at it and figure it out yourself. This is your journey, not mine. I'm just trying to point you in the right direction and let you make up your own mind. Don't believe a single word that I say. Go out and verify it. Here's the other thing. You're going to notice in your comments, there's I can't remember their names because I really don't care. But I have a group of trolls that will show up before your listeners, will show up before I even find you when you posted this, and they will just say, Dave's a grifter, he's scamming you. I'm scamming you out of $3, everybody. Yeah, I gave up my whole life, my American dream, to scam you out of $3. But they have empty channels, zero content, and they will never offer a globe proof. They will just comment and they will try to blow up your entire section because it's actually very effective. If somebody's just looking at this the first time and they watch the video, they go into chat and they see all of these negative, horrible, nasty, bullshit comments. They leave. They leave you know what, I'm out, because their mind doesn't like, the ridicule, and all these guys have is snarky, nonsensical comments. Never once will they offer a globe proof. They will say, well, the Southern Stars, are going in the wrong direction. How does that work on your Flurf planet, right? Okay. Yeah, well, guess what? Frequently asked questions, and go to the Southern Star rotations button. Watch those videos. Then you'll know. Then you'll know how things can work on this flat Earth.
Yeah, I guess those bad comments work like a bad Amazon review. If you get a whole bunch of bad Amazon reviews, that product's probably not going to sell. I wanted to ask you, has there ever been a peer-reviewed scientific paper confirming flat Earth that you know of?
Well, there's tons of documents, CIA documents, and FBI, and not FBI, but government documents that say, and airline manuals that say treat the Earth as a flat, non-rotating plane. To me, that's kind of peer reviewed when it's there. The Earth is a flat, non-rotating plane. All aerodynamics, of airplanes and landing and pilots, it says treat the Earth as a flat, non-rotating plane. To me, that sounds like it's not a spinning globe going 18 miles a second in 4 different directions at once. So that's, to me, is peer reviewed. But the problem is peer reviewed is, hey, a bunch of people that believe candles are the only way to light the Earth, they want you to review your idea of an electric light bulb. Well, it's not going to happen. They're not going to review it. They're going to reject it because they're candle makers. Okay. So, on my channel, DITRH right here, DITRH, I have all short videos. Start with the short videos. But I have one that's not too long ago called Flat Earth is Peer Reviewed, or something like that, something peer reviewed. And it basically explains how peer review is how they keep you in the matrix, how they keep you gate kept.
You mentioned in one of your more recent videos a book called 16 Emergency Landings Proving Flat Earth, and it's by Eddie Alenker.
Yeah, that's a fantastic book. You can find it free online, a PDF version, or you can go to lulu.com, just click the button, the books button. It's fantastic. Oh, that's what I was going to show you. Do I have it here? I think I do. Real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. The emergency landings, Flight Pass, Southern Flight Pass, prove that the Earth is not a globe. But the Glober's argument is, you're not the airlines. They have to go there and change pilots and, change passengers and nonsense when they're trying to get from point A to point B, but they go to, 2 other points that are completely out of the way. But the emergency landings is when they have to emergency land, they land in some really funny places. So let me pull up 1 or 2 of those, and then we could end on that. So, this is what I want to show you. So did you watch the World Cup? Argentina won, right? People love it. So here's the World Cup. They went home. They went to Rome, and then they went to Buenos Aires. Why did they go that way? This is the globe. Well, on a flat Earth. World Cup, Rome, Buenos Aires. Now, they didn't have to pick up other passengers because it was only them. They had no business in Rome. Why did they go here? Doha, Rome, boom. Okay. That's pretty interesting. Okay. So here's one that this is where they told you they're going from LA to where are they going? From LA to the UK. And this is the Great Circle Route. Although the Great Circle Route is get a globe and pull a string from one place to the other. That's the Great Circle Route, right? But look at that Great Circle Route. It's a straight line on a flat Earth map. Look, right here, Newfoundland, Greenland, right here. Boom. Newfoundland, Greenland, straight line. It's a straight line. Why is it always a straight line on a flat Earth, right? Why is it always a straight line? So here.
Well, I was going to say, I used to travel to Thailand. I went to Thailand 3 times, and we'd leave from New York.
Yeah.
And we'd stop in, I believe it was Anchorage, Alaska.
Yeah.
And then from Anchorage, Alaska, we go to Tokyo. And I was always saying to myself, why are we flying up? And then on a flat Earth map, it looks like more of a straight line.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's an emergency landing. We got from New York to Hawaii, and there was an emergency, and they went like over 1,000 miles out of the way to Seattle, and they got there impossibly fast. What? How'd that happen? Well, look where Seattle is. New York, emergency, land. Bam. Look at another one. And again, there's 16. There's actually 18 of them now. There's another one. They went to Moscow. Moscow's right on the same line. Okay. How many times does this have to happen? Went from Dallas to Beijing. They went to Calgary, like 1,500 miles out of the way. Why didn't they land in Dallas? Because Calgary is right here on the same track, right? There's a whole bunch of one, but this is a recent one, which I love. I hate it, but I love it. Hong Kong, they're going to the UK, 12-hour flight, and 4 hours into the flight, the mother traveling with her small children and husband dies suddenly in her seat. Who knows why? Okay. Dead. Well, you're the pilot. You can land here. There's 50 friggin' airports you could land at. They didn't land for 8 hours. So could you imagine being a 7-year-old kid sitting next to your dead mom for 8 hours? I have a hard time. My mom passed away, but I make the joke. It's hard to sit next to your mom when she's alive for 8 hours. Okay. These little kids have to sit. The plane's full, no place to put the body. They literally have to sit next to their dead mom for 8 hours. Why didn't the pilot land? And the reason is because they can't for 2 reasons. Hong Kong, 4 hours in, they're over Russia. You can't land in Russia because Russia will end up being the good guy. Oh, let us help you. Russia's the bad guy. We're in war with Russia. Okay. And why the hell are we landing in Russia? And somebody might put it together, but they were there. So they went all the way 8 hours, right? They're here. Why didn't they just finish the trip to London? At that point, those kids are scarred for life. Okay. Might as well just go on to their final destination so at least they can get their body home. Okay. But they stopped there because they were over Russia the whole time. All of this to hide the global lie. Why is it important? Because every one of those blue dots I showed you knows that we're not in a heliocentric, nonsensical model. And they've unplugged from the matrix. They stopped feeding these demons. Okay. The demons that are running this world. And here's the good news. I'm only one person. There's nothing I can do. I still need to pay my bills, right? If everyone just woke up, governments are gone. Have you ever met a politician? I mean, really? Probably not. I'm sure you have here and there, but they'd be nothing. They'd be a fly. They'd be nothing. They're a gnat, right? But everyone believes that they have the great power, right? And that belief makes it true. Everyone believes that dollars have value. And that makes it actually powerful. We need to get off their playing field, which is the heliocentric globe, and we need to get off their fake money system and get onto our own, not the CBDC, which is of literally enslavement, but person-to-person crypto. Just a quick note on crypto, the FTC thing, all of these exchanges, let them crash. None of them are what crypto is. Crypto is you have a wallet, I have a wallet. Nobody knows whose wallet it is. I can send it to yours and you can send it to mine and nobody knows about it. That's crypto. Okay. And so until we get off of their monopoly board and stop using their monopoly money, we're going to be slaves to their system. So that's why I'm pushing flat earth. That's why it matters, because when you wake up to this, I've woken people up to all of the other conspiracies, I don't call them conspiracies, all of the other deceptions to humanity, and they go right back to sleep. You wake someone up to this, they become obsessed with it because it affects them every day. This is the one that frees your mind. So we're heading into some really, really dark times. And if people don't get off their butts and do something, I know there's a lot of bigger podcasts out there that know there's something up with this, but are afraid to address it. Oh, I don't want to scare my audience away. At least you have the courage to not worry about upsetting some of your listeners. But if they hung through this far and they have 2 brain cells, which I'm sure they all do, at this point, they must be going, this guy's making some sense. Why am I acting so horrible about it? Look into it. Take the app challenge. Go to my website. Take the crash course. If you have a podcast, on my website, book Flat Earth Dave. Okay? There's tons of resources there. Check them out. And Unplug yourself from the heliocentric, nonsensical, sinister trick.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a very powerful interview. I didn't get to ask you probably at least 10 questions. So you think we could book another show soon?
You want to do a couple more minutes, or you want to?
We could do a couple more minutes. I was going to ask you also about NASA, because there's always news coming out on NASA. They're always talking about their latest probe going to Mars, or
Oh my God,
right, the moon and all that stuff. So why is it just made up? I mean, if the Earth is truly flat, like you're saying, and we can't go past that dome, that firmament, then all of that is just rubbish. I mean, do people actually believe it, or I mean, are they making it up? How could it be that all the astronauts and all the people that work for NASA are in on it, and Elon Musk? Like,
all right,
what's going on there?
Let me show you this. So before I do this one, hold on a second. This is
that the Blue Origin rocket?
No, this is Elon Musk Starhopper. Look how huge this thing is. Look at this thing. This has never been into orbit. No one has ever been on it, but they say next year, 2023, they're flying a bunch of podcasters around the moon in it. Okay. Right. So Jaron from Jaronism, he's put up on one of those betting sites. He's betting anyone $1,000 that not only they won't do it. He's not like, if they do it, he says it's fake. It doesn't matter. He loses the bet. They will not do it. So the global believers have to, we're going to go. When I was a kid, they said we're going to have hotels on the moon. Well, where are those friggin' hotels? Okay. This is nonsense. So let's just watch this really quick. So this is the Starhopper. I'm just going to jump through it a little bit.
Do you think that's CGI?
Some of it is. You tell me. So this is them doing a test, right? And notice the edit. You got the camera there. Now look at this thing, how slow it's going. This little flame is pushing up that tens of thousands of pounds. Okay. What's going on? Edit. Now look, side view. Can't be that high if we're pretty close to it and we can see the side. Okay. Oh, now we're up pretty high. Look at that. Wait, how do we get this view from the ground? Now watch. This is about to, now it's up pretty high again. Okay. This is unedited. Now look at the smoke. Use your God-given common sense. How fast is this thing falling? This thing is free falling. It's multiple tons. Free falling. Look at the smoke. Look at the smoke, how slow it's moving. What is going on here? Is this a balloon? Is this CGI? Oh, wait a minute. Look how high it is. Okay. This is live. Okay. Now this thing is free falling. Does that look like it's free falling, or does that look like a cartoon? Okay. No, wait. Look how high it is again. That's bizarre. Now watch. 3 of the engines are going to come on. It's going to flip upright. The cameraman's going to get right underneath it, and 2 of the engines are going to burn out. Okay. Watch. 2 of the engines are going to burn out. Right. And then, again, look at the smoke. How fast is this thing falling? Okay. This thing should be going Mach, whatever. Okay. And then all of a sudden CGI smoke, and it lands upright. If you can't see that this is fake and unwind it all the way to Elon Musk is a fraud and NASA is complete nonsense, then you're not thinking. You're emotionally holding on to space. This is what they showed us as real. Okay. Absolute and total nonsense. Okay.
It looks totally fake. It looked totally fake to me.
And so once you see that, you can't unsee it. Right. But people just really don't want to face it. They're faking the whole Artemis. We supposedly went to the moon. I mean, we send a rocket around the moon. Artemis, it's absolute nothing. Hold on. Is this the video? Oh yeah. This is from Artemis the other day. They're how far on the other side of the moon are they? And because they're supposed to just go around the moon, and then they see the Earth do this. I could do this, right? I'm not even good at Photoshop, right? Here's a shot. This is the Earth. This is Saturn. And they're like, oh, so cool. And then all of a sudden, what happened to Artemis? And the Globers are like, well, it's in the shadow. How did a shadow come in one frame? What happened? Oh, they changed the exposure. Okay. And it blacked out. No, that's because they're on another layer, right? Then they show us this, right? This is from a year or so ago. Interesting. Got the moon. Sun's behind the camera. Why isn't the moon lit? I don't know. Earth is lit. Why isn't the moon lit? Okay. And now they're showing it. Well, why is the Earth so small? This is Artemis, right? Where's that camera on Artemis anyway? It's bizarre, right? And then if you look at the speeds, right? The ISS is traveling at 17,500 miles an hour. All right. Artemis, to get to the moon, is only traveling at 1,239 miles an hour. Apollo was going 3,300 miles an hour, right? Apollo got there in less time than Artemis, right? What is going on, right? Then the Japanese go up there and they show us this stupid picture. This is Artemis in 2022 from a couple hundred miles from the moon, supposedly. I could see the moon with my naked eye from 250,000 miles away with more detail than we're seeing from there. Why aren't people screaming, what is going on? You know, why aren't we getting, why are we putting up for that absolute and total nonsense, right? 2015, 2022. They can't even get their perspective right? Absolutely not, right? Artemis, 6 days to the moon. Apollo, 3 days to the moon. It's the same stupid trick, except they have a little fatter tower. It's the same stupid rocket looking. Everything. They have, and by the way, there's all different ways they fake it. Sometimes they don't launch anything. Sometimes when people are watching, this is literally a helium balloon with a light show on the bottom. And we actually have a pretty good breakdown of how they fake it. And it's absolutely amazing, right? A lot of people say, you know, Artemis took off and it missed the moon. Well, it's supposedly going around the Earth and slingshot to the moon, but it's absolute and total nonsense, right? We can't see the curve. The Earth is too big to see the curve, but we can watch a rocket ship curve over the Earth.
Why do they all make that parabolic move instead of going straight up?
Well, they say because it's getting faster speed going around the Earth before it slingshots, because they call it the gravity slingshot, which is nonsense, right? They say the rocket's going to take off. It's going to go around the Earth. It's going to go to the moon, go around the moon. Then it's going to eject some mass and go back to Earth. Okay. But meanwhile, the Earth is traveling at all these different speeds. Baloney. Here's something, though. Check this out. This is from NASA. They're showing us, you know, you'll read all like, oh, this is what's all the crazy that's going to happen. But if we zoom in on this, what do we got here? We got a flat Earth map. That's exactly, they literally didn't even turn it. Why are they using a flat Earth map? Are they have a whistleblower, or do they have somebody just poking us? I don't know. If you were on a 747 or a regular jetliner and you're flying to, you know, coming up to visit me in New York, and you looked out on the side of the wing or the rocket, the plane, you saw this PVC piping and non-aerodynamic fittings and stuff. Would you be a little nervous that at 550-mile-an-hour winds would rip them off? This thing is going Mach 25, okay? Faster than any spy plane could go, 10 times faster, okay? And no problem. The paint, no problem, right? The SR-71 is black, and it's black because it gets so hot with its aerodynamic design that it will the paint will burn off. Okay, but no problem for Artemis, right? Absolute and total nonsense. Here's a close up of the bottom. Now, this thrusting is going to lift up this millions of pound ship. What are these? I don't know. This looks like a friggin' balloon to me. Okay. This looks like a bouncy house, right? It looks like a helium filled nonsense. Okay. So here's some testing they were doing. And during the testing, something happened to the main body of the rocket. It popped. Right here, I talk about the SR-71. This thing goes Mach 3.2, but Artemis goes Mach 33, I think. I mean, 10 times faster. This thing can't go faster than its, 2,300 miles an hour, whatever it is, or it starts to rip apart, even though it's like a friggin' razor blade. But Artemis, with its PVC on the side and its blunt nose and the pieces holding it together, which are not aerodynamic at all, that's no problem, right? No problem whatsoever, right?
And Dave, when excuse me, when a rocket's in space, how does it steer and how does the thrust work? Because
Yeah.
like there's no air, right? So what is it pushing off?
Now
What is
they
it
claim
moving?
that it's ejecting a mass. Like if I was sitting on a chair with wheels on it and I threw a bowling ball, I would go the other way. Where's Artemis getting that mass to eject it out of lunar orbit and back to Earth? And then when you understand the moon is spinning at 10 miles an hour, right? That's how the same side faces us magic, right? Gravity locking, right? People just love parroting words that help, bolster their bias on what's really going on. Again, there is so much on the app, on the frequently asked questions page. There is the, what about NASA? Are they the only space agency? And all the other space agencies, endless stuff. I'll show you a couple quick things, right? You've heard of bubbles in space, right? When they're doing spacewalks, there's like all these bubbles. It might be a little hard to see here, but there's bubbles. It's because they're practicing in a swimming pool. Okay, they're practicing in a swimming pool. Here on the ISS, he's flipping something around, and watch what happens. For one frame, he disappeared. Now, their normal excuse is, cosmic rays, caused an anomaly. No, this is layers. Excuse me. This is layers, right? Look at this. This is all you need to know they're faking space. This one video, 5-second video is all you need to defund NASA. You know what NASA gets every day? $80 million a day. $80 million a day. Okay? Right? Here is this is back. Remember the space shuttle? This is another ship coming to dock or something with the International Space Station. Look at this. Look at this. This is a Airfix model. Look at this. This is the shuttle. Right? Where's the shuttle? Here's the shuttle right here. The dock shuttle. I think this was the Soyuz coming up or something. Right? If you can't see that this is a stupid model with a tilted, nonsense, right? I can't help you. People are like, well,
honestly, it doesn't look real.
Well, thank you. And people are like, well, what about when they flip things around? This is the Big Bang Theory. He's on the space station, right? He's floating around, and look, he's gonna put a pen in the air. Oh, look, does that mean he filmed it in space? Look, this is the same trickery that they do on the space station. The same nonsense, right? This guy floating by, always a guy floating by, right? This is the space station. It's the same nonsense. Same absolute and total nonsense. Right? One more thing. We got the Hubble telescope, we got the James Webb telescope, we got all these satellites, right? They're all communicating. You ever put like a toy boat or just a cork or anything in a bottle and water and try to get it to stay exactly where it is? That's with water, let alone free space with no resistance. What's going to stop these things from spinning out of control? Okay, so check this out. These guys are talking. Here's a little space capsule. Look how it's just turning. This is what spaceships and satellites would do. They would just spin out of control. You got guys in there. They move around. Like if I'm on my boat, perfectly calm day, right? And I just walk across the boat moves, right? So you're in space. Nothing. What stabilizes these things? Nobody asks these questions, right? What stabilizes it? How do they aim that telescope? Right? Think about this. On Earth here, the biggest telescopes, when they do these deep field images, and I believe they are really taking pictures, they're just not what we say. They do the long exposure, the deep field image where they zoomed in on something the size of a grain of rice portion of the sky, and they filmed it for hours. And then when they looked at it, they saw hundreds of galaxies. Do you remember that picture? Right? You've heard about it. So they say that the telescope is on a pad that's like 10 feet thick of cement, and the operator has to walk around in socks because the slightest vibration will ruin the whole picture. Right? The slightest vibration will ruin the entire picture. Are they forgetting that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? Okay, that we're orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at 100 the 500,000 miles an hour, and all of the stars themselves are moving too. Are they forgetting about that and worried about the tiniest vibration? And the Hubble telescope is mirroring all those motions, and it's falling around the Earth at 20,000 miles an hour. The Earth is moving at like 18 miles a second. A big ball, rock, surrounded by water, surrounded by air.
The other thing that gets me about flat Earth is the argument that, let's say you have the sun in the middle, and let's say this is Earth. Okay. So when you're looking out at the stars, let's say this is the summer solstice, when you're looking at a star system over here.
Yeah.
But then when the Earth is all the way on the other side, and it's, excuse me, you should be seeing a whole bunch of other different stars. And, you know, at the 180 degrees or 180 days difference.
100%. And you would be, you are on the other side of the sun, looking in the opposite direction of the sun, and we see the same stars.
Yeah.
Listen, the mental gymnastics your mind has to do to believe in the heliocentric nonsense is mind-blowing, but it's so intense that people just don't even do it, and they just believe because they don't want to take the effort. So the people that defend the globe, people that defend Elon Musk sending his Tesla into space, they never, you know, or any of the stuff, they never even looked at it. They never even watched it, because if they did and they had an ounce of discernment, they'd be like, hey, wait a minute. But then they're like, wait a minute. Now we can't have everyone lying. The lie's so big, they can't even keep a blowjob a secret. Okay. The problem is 99% of the people lying don't know that they're lying.
Well, this has been truly another incredible interview. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of infighting in the comments section. Your trolls will be there, that you said.
Oh my God, they're just amazing. If you want to ban them, feel free, but I don't tell people what to do. The other thing is, just if you see the troll comments, just ask them, is that your best globe proof? Because they got nothing. They got nothing except calling me names, ad homs, made up lies, you know, just claims about the stars in the sky, which I don't care how the Southern Stars move. But if you want to know, go to Southern Star Rotation on the app under frequently asked questions. And there's a lot of different explanations. But the thing is, until you can tell me what those stars are and how far away they are, I don't care what motions they're making. Okay? I don't care what motions they're making. And that's, watch the Southern Star Rotations. I can show you in my living room how I can move something to the right and it actually goes to the left. Okay? I can show you how something spins clockwise, but someone across the room sees it spinning counterclockwise. I can show you how the smiley face on my ceiling looks like a sad face from the other side of the room. Okay? I can show you a million things that are so simple, but you've been brainwashed not to see them.
Wow. Yeah, this is a powerful interview, Dave. I mean, you brought some new evidence that I haven't heard before. I especially like the one about the stars, because for anybody that was able to follow along with that, which it was clear, you would really see that what Dave said made sense. There's no way that we should be seeing starlight.
This is called the More Resources button. It's the web button. You click that. Got tons of stuff here. Stuff you can do your own experiments, hit the Earth curve calculator, lots of other great resources. But right here are my interviews. Your interview, when it goes, will be here. But if you click that, tons of other interviews. Start watching those interviews. Go to my YouTube channel, DITRH, if you don't have time. Just watch the short videos there. Right here, this is Caleb and this is Derek, the two most amazing young TikTokers out there, all flat Earth. Mind-blowing stuff. Subscribe to their podcast. It is mind-blowing. Like, they're so well. I wish I was as well-spoken as these two 25-year-olds, right? One of them, he's 25. I'm not sure how old Derek is. Amazing. Check out those channels. Follow them, because a lot of people, people say, oh, TikTok, it's making people have short attention span. Well, you know what? We already have a short attention span. And so you need something like TikTok to get their attention. When I first started, I wouldn't watch a 1-minute video. Then it's like, I'll watch a 5-minute video. All right, I'll watch a 10-minute video. Now I'm like, bring that 5-hour video on. That was awesome. Okay. And
yeah, I saw you made a 5-hour video a couple months ago.
No, it wasn't me. You're talking about the Iwaranon one. It's on the app. If you go to,
I saw it on your website. I mean, excuse me, your YouTube channel.
Oh, maybe on the Flat Earth podcast one, I put a lot of mirrors up there. So yeah, there's some amazing stuff. Down here somewhere.
I wanted to also ask you, are you ever in contact with Eric Dubay?
No, he doesn't like me.
He doesn't? Why
No.
not?
Because I am a Jewish shill.
Yeah,
everyone in Flat Earth is a shill, according to Eric Dubay. Eric Dubay puts out some fantastic work. He was the leader in Flat Earth in 2014, 2015. Okay. But for some reason, he just went ape crazy on everybody else. I've never spoken to the guy, and I don't pay any attention to him. Although I do often feature some of his videos on the app because they're excellent, some of them. But then he goes off on tangents that, just don't interest me. So I don't really give him much attention.
I've emailed him probably 3 or 4 times over the last year and a half, but he's said he's always not giving interviews or he's busy. So
yeah, well, that what everyone has the right to their own life, do whatever they want. That's fine as long as you don't interfere with other people. I have no problem with all of the great stuff Eric puts out and what he chooses to do with his life. But when he attacks people like myself, saying that I'm a free Masonic shill and Jewish control, I don't even understand. I was like, well, he calls other people names. I could say, well, I think he's wrong. For me, I know he's wrong. So I don't really give him much attention. Again, negative things don't interest me.
What about Dave Murphy? Allegedly, Dave, do you ever?
Dave Murphy is fantastic. He has a real view of how what the Bible really means and stuff. And it's always fascinating. I don't know if I 100% agree with everything he says, but I'm always interested. I consider him a good friend and a valuable researcher. Have you done a show with him recently? I've done plenty of shows with him. I think I did one not too long ago with him. Oh, he was on we had the Mount Meru True Earth Mount Meru Summit, which was an online course, an online summit, which was phenomenal. We just did that a month or so ago. We had some great speakers on there, and they're doing it again in late March. You'll hear about it. It'll be shown on the app, and I highly recommend people come to that. It's a 2-day amazing presentation put on by Jaron and Austin Whitsitt. Are there any Flat Earth conventions that people can go to? Yeah, there was one in October in South Carolina. It was the 5th one, the Flattoberfest, put on by Karen B. And it was phenomenal. We went down or out, whatever you want to say. And there was, I don't know, 400, 600 people there or something like that. Phenomenal. There's lots of people like on the app. If you go to the friend finder and then you click the messaging, you have all of these groups, right? So you can join a group, like East Coast. There's one that says East Coast. I'm in a group called, what is it called? East Coast Flat Earth, right? So interesting. You can find people that way. You can also on the app, if you hit this button right here, okay, that is your radius. I have mine set for 50 kilometers and I have 489 people within 50 kilometers. I could literally say, hey, I'm having a meetup at the park or at Joe's Bar and Grill Saturday, 4 p.m. Come one, come all. I just sent a message personally to all of these people they're all interested. And my fear is that more than half of them will show up. Okay. Then now you started stuff. So people are doing that. There's stuff all the time. But the next big one I know is going to be probably not until October next year. But it might be out west. They're still looking for a venue out west instead of South Carolina. That's a really cool feature. And have you done any shows with Eddie Bravo recently? Eddie Bravo was on the summit with us. We were on a Q&A together. I speak with him all the time. He is going to be in The Next Level. I don't know if you've seen the movie, the Level, and then The Next Level, and then this Earth Day, which is April this year. What is the name? What he has? I don't know the name, but it's called I forget, but it's the Third Level movie by Hibbler Productions. Phenomenal. Go to flatearthdave.com, scroll down to The Next Level, get a high def copy. I think it's $5, and watch it. And not just because I'm in it, but it's a fantastic movie, a great way to wake up your friends. I have a lot of normie friends that don't judge. And they're like, flat earth, I don't know. And, I feed them little bits and bits. And then we were at their house. They have a nice big, big movie television screen. I was like, hey, they're like, let's watch your movie. And so we put the movie on, silence through the whole thing at the end. The lights come on. They looked at me and they go, we're in. We get it now. So it's a phenomenal movie. And check that out. It's really, really, Sean is just a great way to put movies together to keep them entertaining. It's better than, spending, $25 to go see a stupid mind programming movie at the movie theater.
Like Avatar. What about this summit you said? Where can people see that summit online?
Oh, so if you go to TEMMS, stands for True Earth Mount Meru Summit.live, TEMMS.live. You can do an after viewing of it. I think it's $20 and you get the whole thing. Not sure. But the next one coming up, it's such a great event to be live at because you can be in the chat. We have VIP where people are on the Zoom. They can ask questions. And we had David Avocado Wolf. We had Dave Murphy was there.
David Wolf a flat earther?
Matter of fact, big time. David is one of the guys that got me into flat earth years ago. I'm actually going to be on David Wolf's podcast. When is that? Coming up, I think on the 10th of next month, we're recording.
Do you think he would come on my show?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. So we had so many, Eddie Bravo, Peggy Hall. You know who Peggy Hall is? Peggy Hall from The Healthy American. She's a true freedom fighter that's out there, helping us through these hard times. And she comes from a biblical point of view. Her presentation was phenomenal. We had Amanda Vollmer on there. Just really amazing people. If you've heard of these people, you'd be like, wow. And if you don't know these people, you need to get to know them. And, it's phenomenal.
How do you spell Amanda's last name? Bohmer?
No, V as in Victor, V-O Vollmer, Voulmer, something like that. Amanda Vollmer. She's pretty much shadow brand. You could see she's an amazing naturopath, that helps so many people with health issues. It's amazing. And then we had High Impact Flicks, Brian, from High Impact Flicks. I don't know if you know that channel. He was on and he put out a phenomenal presentation about what's going on in the world. And all the presentations come from a planted feet on a firm foundation of a flat earth. And it makes it really powerful. Because if you're spinning out of control, lost in space on a speck of dust, you're lost in space and you've given away your power. Even though your life might be okay, you might be happy with it, you're missing out.
Would you be interested in, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of comments. My channel has really picked up steam lately. I had a guy named Howdy Mikowski on. I don't know if you heard of him. He believes our world is soul trap, but I did 2 interviews with him. Those interviews got, those interviews got about average 20,000 views so far. And I had a guy named James True on.
I know James.
You know James, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he knows you too, he said. So my channel's been picking up steam. So I think a lot of people are going to watch this interview that we've done. There'll be a lot of comments. And I wanted to know if you may want to come back on and maybe even do a live stream and address some of those comments and maybe
I'd love to do it. I'd love to do a live stream. The other thing is you're going to see people posing comments, questions. I love questions. The trolls come in there. They don't post questions. They just make insults and claims. But they never really will listen to an answer or anything. But when people ask a question and they're not a troll, that's what I love answering. And 99% of those questions are answered on the frequently asked questions section of the app. Bam. They're there. The answers are there. You just have to take the time. People, they work, they come home, they're tired, they watch TV, they drink, they watch movies, they go watch sports, they relax over the weekend, they then rinse and repeat. Okay. People don't have time to research, right? But the last few years, a lot of people had a lot of time and a lot of people started researching. A lot of people started looking. Back when I became a flat earther, YouTube just kept sending me more and more stuff. Now, if you Google flat earth, you're going to get all nonsense. You're going to get my video, my interview. The one of the top hits will be me being going up Professor Dave.
Yeah.
Right? Who's not a professor. He's a failed musician. But there's a video that's put out by an independent channel called Mind Shock that actually went over it, literally broke it down in like 3.5 hours or whatever it is. And they broke it down for logical fallacies, and they had a logical fallacy counter and an ad hom counter. And spoiler alert, Dave got like 290 points versus my like 15, where basically I kept telling him stop being a dick. But if a weak mind watches it, well, he's Professor Dave. Well, guess what? I'm Flat Earth Professor Dave. Okay, I'm Professor Flat Earth Dave. Right? I'm as much of a professor as he is. Right? I'm probably even more if you really look at knowledge. But a weak-minded person will watch it and go, "Oh, Flat Earth is stupid," and that's exactly what it is. It's literally scaring you. Shaming you into like, "Oh, I'm not touching that." This guy's a professor, and he rolled his eyes, he made a face, and he called me a name. I don't want that attached to me. So again, if you want to know, if you really want to know, go into here, hit the web button, and then right down here, debunking the debunkers. Click that button, and up comes a playlist with all the debunking videos. But right here is the Flat Earth Dave humiliates Professor Dave breakdown. And anybody that thinks that the Professor Dave got anything over on me, just watch that video. Independent, guy doing it, and then tell me what you think.
Okay, I just have one thing to say and one question, and then we could end this interview.
Go.
Because it's gone on pretty long. I'm probably going to break this up into 2 interviews. So long, but I wanted to say, can you put a good word in for me with Eddie Bravo?
I will. I don't know if he's doing many interviews, but I'll when this comes up, I'll send it to him. He watches the stuff I send him, and I'll say this guy's interested in interviewing you.
I watch him on Rockfin. I know he has his own show on Rockfin.
His show is great, and by the way, his audio and video producer of the show is Sean Hibbler, who made the movie Level. So Sean is amazing. Again, if you're unsure, so check this out. If you want to watch the original Level, hit the web button, scroll down to Flat Earth movie, FE movies, full length movies. Hit that. Up comes a playlist, mind blowing, right? And right in there is Level. Check that out, and it's those movies alone. Again, the problem is getting somebody to watch something that they don't believe in is hard. But once they do, then they can see.
So really quickly, are you looking into things other than the Flat Earth? I know you like mud floods and Tartaria, but I mean, is there anything else that you're looking into recently?
I'm looking into reality. It all started out with what is money, and the truth is, our world was. We're not at the pinnacle of civilization. We're in the middle of the movie Idiocracy right now. And they don't want us to know that. There's all sorts of stuff. People say, well, I think the world is a simulation. You know what? I think the world is a simulation too. I think we live in a realm inside a toroidal field in a physical simulation that is real for us. Okay. What does that mean? Not 100% sure, but this is where we are having this experience. And I believe that the controllers of this world know exactly how this place works, and they've trapped our souls. This could be a training school to get us to go to the next level. Oh, the next level. That's interesting. And they're literally keeping us here as slaves because they stopped our minds from expanding. They trapped it in a ball. So when people go, I'm not a flat earther anymore because I believe in simulation. You know what? This is a simulation. It's amazing. It's an amazing simulation. But it's real, because if we were here and I punch you in the jaw, that would hurt. Okay. Whether, what is reality? Great conversations to have. But our reality is a flat, level, non-rotating plane. And once you understand your position in it, take your power back.
Have you ever thought about writing a book on Flat Earth?
Somebody could ghostwrite it for me. I'm too busy talking to people like you.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Well, I mean, Dave, it's been absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see what the viewers are going to say in the comment section. And I'd love to have you back. Maybe we can do this in a couple of weeks, do a live and see how it goes.
Sure. We'll talk about that.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
FlatEarthDave.com, everybody.
Yeah. Good. Just give any last words you want, Dave.
Easiest way to remember, flatearthdave.com. It actually brings you to theflatearthpodcast.com, but people, for some reason, forget that. Flatearthdave.com. Go there, book Dave for a show, check out the crash course, get the app, of course, become a subscriber, $11 a year, but you don't have to. $11 a year, and it's a no-brainer, right? Refer some friends, make some new friends. You know, when you become a flat earther, you might lose some people in your life that aren't ready for it, but that's okay. Don't be upset with them. That's their journey. Eventually, they're going to come around. This is going to hit mainstream if the world doesn't, flip the table over first. And you're going to be ahead of the gang. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of famous people that know. Kelsey Grammer, he knows, right? Amy Irving, he knows. Kyrie Irving, he knows. Shaq, he knows. But they want the sports guys walk it back because they lose millions and millions of dollars, right? Maybe Kanye will come out next and say it, right? They know. These people know, right? Well, how come everyone's keeping the secret? There's secrets, People just a lot of people aren't ready for secrets, are ready to know the truth. The truth divides because people are so lost in their programming.
Yeah. Great stuff, Dave. I just want to say, everybody out there, please drop a comment. Let me know if you agree with Dave, you disagree with Dave, or let me know some of the better points that Dave made, or if you disagree with some of his points, leave a question so we can address them next time. Sign up to my free email list. There's a link right there. That way you'll be notified of every video I put out, including the next one I do with Dave. And hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Don't hate me. Okay, I'm still here in the middle, but Dave is pushing me towards the flat earth side, I have to say, every time I talk to him. So thank you for showing up, Dave. And I will we'll see everybody, in the future. Thank you. Thank you for watching all the way until the end.
See ya.